That's that's all HTML, PHP, and CSS.
Hi, everybody, and welcome into a Thursday edition of the Computer America Show. Our Google Hangouts is starting. Charles Tindall, co-host, is back with us. And also we're going to have Popzara on with us for the first hour. And who knows, maybe and beyond. Nathan Evans, managing editor of Popzara magazine, also an official Computer America correspondent, is here with us tonight. One of the things we're going to be looking at tonight is the release of Yosemite in beta. Nathan actually has a copy of it, and we're going to be going over that on the video portion of the Computer America Show.
4 minutes until showtime.
So as you hear, we got 4 minutes to start. Sit back, let's enjoy the show in the chat. You want to join us in the chat room? We have a new chat room, Nathan.
Oh, cool. I didn't even know where I was because the buttons are so different. Let's see here. Everything looks all flat. Let's see. I haven't used. Oh, this is the first time I'm using the new Safari. Everything is so different.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Well, I wonder if that is a problem with my hosting. We'll tell them because they're.
Who do you host with?
GoDaddy.
Oh wow! I noticed your site has a spinning logo now.
Spinning logo?
Yeah, when I went to Computer America, not yours. I'm sorry, the Computer America.
Oh yeah.
Had a spinning logo.
3 minutes.
That's all it takes.
If you're a GoDaddy customer and know your
And a new chat room too. Erroneous nickname?
Who?
It says my nickname is erroneous.
Yeah.
I've been called worse.
Huh.
Maybe it's because I use a Twitter handle.
See, now when Fort logs in, Charles, he gets automatically updated to full op. So how does he do that? Or did you do it for him?
Who?
When Fortress, Starfort went to the chat room, and he got upgraded immediately to full op status. Or did you do that for him? Or is that his script working?
2 minutes until showtime.
Charles?
On the phone, Craig.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I upgraded Addison to full op again, but Fortress seems to have it done automatically when he logs in, because I know you didn't look like you did that for him.
1 minute until showtime.
So, I'm not sure what's going on there. I don't know if Charles is on the phone or what. I can't see him, so
He's hiding.
he's hiding.
Yeah, the new chat room looks nice. It's definitely a lot faster.
It doesn't use Java. That's the main. That was my main complaint with the other one.
That's true. In Java, Safari was the only browser that still used Java so much, and now they're trying to get rid of it too.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to start in 60 seconds.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live. It's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers. Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, certified ethical hacker, Charles Tendell.
And welcome into a Thursday edition of the Computer America Show. And we got a great show planned for you tonight. Now, I think things are looking a little confusing because our guest, Nathan Evans, has his screen turned on, and I'm seeing myself doubly getting an echo. So why don't you turn that? There you go. And we can get back to things. And now the last thing we need is Charles to turn his camera on, and we can actually do the show. But we are live, and of course it is Thursday now. And for all of you who are expecting AMD to be with us here tonight, evidently our booking goddess Carissa said that there were some problems, and we are going to reschedule AMD for another time a little later on, either in this month or next month. But we will have them on the show. So that is all coming up. I know some of the people in the chat room saying, "Oh, they're disappointed." And no, don't be disappointed. I mean, the AMD is going to be here with us, and we are looking forward to having him here on the Computer America Show. Now, we got a lot of interesting people joining us in the chat room, our new IRC, Computer America chat room. But you know, I think what we'll do is we when this happens, when we don't have a guest that falls off quickly, and what happens is that we try to find something or someone to you know, kind of fill in for their place. And what we do is we usually turn to our stable, if you will, of Computer America correspondents. And
You mean Computer America victims?
and
Wait, you're right, correspondents.
And exactly. And we have with us tonight the managing editor of Popzara, Nathan Evans, who is here. Now, if you're not familiar with Popzara, it's a website where you have views on video gaming, movies, technology, cultural movements, politics, a little bit of everything. They have opinion pieces, debates, and they've just upgraded their website to be even more informative. So we'll talk about that too. But Nathan is here with us. So Nathan, hey, welcome to Computer America. How are you?
Hey, Craig, and welcome back, Charles. It's been a while since I was on the show with you.
Yeah, I've been running around taking over the world, so...
Save a piece for me.
I'm selling Australia if you want it.
I do.
But he's selling
Right.
he's selling it for bitcoins.
Exactly.
I only have
Bitcoin.
Doge coins. Do you take Doge or Doggy coins?
It's Dogecoin.
Doge
It's
coins.
Dogecoin.
I can't pronounce internet words.
Aren't you on the internet? It's a thing.
We had this company on the show that sells equipment for mining cryptocurrency, and even he pronounced it Doggy Coin, which I was quickly to point out. So I said, "Isn't it Dogecoin?" And he didn't know how you pronounced it. So I guess it's all in the mouth of the speaker how it's ever pronounced. I like Doggy Coin, but I'm sure it's probably probably called Dogecoin. Anyhow, if you want to join us, one of the things we're going to be talking about tonight is the release or the beta release of Yosemite. That's Apple's new OS 10 version 10.10, which just went to public, was released to beta. I don't know if it's public beta yet, but it's out in beta. And our guest tonight, Nathan Evans, actually has it. So we're going to be looking at it, talking about it, and if you're watching us on our live Computer America video stream, you'll be able to see what he is talking about. Now, let me kind of give you all the contact info so you can get involved with us. If you have a comment or question, just give us a call at 347-884-8881. 347-884-8881 will get you on and get you through. We also have email, live, L-I-V-E, at computeramerica.com. That works. And if you want to, you can also join us on our live streaming video page, just go to our homepage at computeramerica.com. Right there, square in the middle of the page, you'll see it says chat room / live video. Click that, and you'll go to the page that shares both the chat room and the live video. The live video streaming page is brought to you by Otherworld Computing. That's quality products expert support since 1988. Now celebrating its 25th anniversary. Of course, you can visit them at any time at their website at www.macsales.com. If you have any need for Mac equipment, PC equipment, things to enhance your PlayStation 4 or your Xbox One, they have it all. I mean, if you want to upgrade your Xbox One to a bigger hard drive, for $115 you get a 1 terabyte hard drive. It's actually a hybrid drive, so it's even faster. $115, and they even give you the flash memory stick and a screwdriver to install it in. And you can actually, they give you the installation videos that you can actually watch on. They actually have their own YouTube page that you can see. So they have it all there at MacSales.com. Any order over $49, you get free ground shipping. And about 80% of the country, that means in about 2 days you'll get what you ordered from them. So check them out at MacSales.com and watch us on our live video streaming. The other thing that you can do is also join us in our live interactive chat room. It's a brand new chat room. It's not brand new. It's new for us. We're putting our add-on chat room aside temporarily until they come out with the HTML5 version because Java is just causing us too much problems. And so now we have our live interactive IRC Freenode chat room, and it shares the same page as the video streaming page. Just put in a family-friendly username, put in the little authentication code that you have there, and your browser will take you right into the chat room. If you have, they have additional plugins for your browser like Chatzilla, which formats it more nicely. I highly recommend that if you're using Firefox to use Chatzilla. But it's all there. Come on in and join us here at Computer America.
Craig, you need to tilt your camera down because we're like seeing from like your nose up. There you go. Or sit up straight.
I'm sitting. I was slouching. Okay. Here.
Did the phone book slip?
Yes.
There you go. See, much better.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So now you can see the lamp behind me sprouting out of my head. That was a lamp, but it's a lamp. And the little hamburger
the aliens use to transfer their information
is a phone. Exactly. Oh, there's Jackson in the chat room. Okay. So anyway, visit us at the chat room as well. Now, one of the things we're going to talk about again is Yosemite, and Nate got a beta release of it. And Nate, so tell us a little, how do you like it so far?
Well, it's funny. I am probably the last person and the worst person in the world to give you a review of an operating system, particularly one that's in beta. But the fact of the matter is, I really like it. And one of the reasons I really like it, excuse me, is that it looks so much better. The older I get, the worse my eyes get. And a lot of people referred to when Apple reconfigured iOS with iOS 8. A lot of people were on the fence about it. They said, look at this, look at that. It's very flat. It's very modern. It's very colorful. A friend of mine put it best. He called it clown explosion. Just color, like a clown just popped and confetti. But over the last year, Apple has fixed up iOS 7, and with the upcoming iOS 8 in Yosemite, they're planning on converging the two operating systems. And that's a lot of technical mumbo jumbo for the nerds out there, but from an aesthetic point, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. It reminds me, and you're going to hate me for this, it reminds me of Windows Vista.
God, no.
Well, a lot of people, they don't have fond memories, but it wasn't all bad. It wasn't all bad. Windows Vista had a nice translucent feel, and that's what Yosemite does. Except the way Apple implements it is better. iOS 7 has this effect too, where it creates Gaussian blurs underneath tiled boxes, but the way Mavericks does it, it looks to me, and I haven't researched this yet, but it looks to me like Apple's using a new rendering engine for the fonts and for the color schemes. And what's another interesting feat, if you're a big Apple fan from the old days, you'll notice that the new bar at the bottom, the docking bar, it looks familiar. It looks like the old docking bar from Mac OS 1 back in 2001. It's got that nice border around it. It's more pronounced. It's clean. It's slick. Every every inch of this operating system has been touched, and touched in a good way, because we all know what happens with new operating systems. Look at Windows, again, look at Windows Vista, look at Windows 8. You can touch operating systems in a bad way. And when people rely on operating systems, a slight change for the worse can put your whole thing out of whack. And I know, Charles, you probably have some custom Linux thing made by the gods, but most of us,
Actually,
you probably do.
no,
And,
I'm actually running on my MacBook Pro.
really? Well,
Yeah.
I did say gods, so no, but it's honestly Yosemite in the 4 hours that I've used it. Yosemite is the most impressive piece of software I've seen out of Apple in years. It functions better. It's a speed boost, and the installation was the easiest operating system installation I have ever done. It really is that easy. It was all handled through the App Store, and like I said, I have a beta key, so mine's probably going to be a little different. But I imagine if it's even easier than Mavericks was last year, then I think Apple fans that have compatible hardware are going to be in for a treat. And even if you don't use any of the new fancy features, and there are several, then I strongly recommend getting it just for the visual upgrade. It's just easier to look at. It's got different color schemes. It's translucent, and I think you wanted me to. I can share a little bit of that if you'd like to see it.
Absolutely.
Because you can listen to me ramble on. Let's see if this works. I'm going to show you my desktop. So, and here we go. Can you guys see that?
Yes, I see it.
Now, I have a Mac Mini, a 2012 Mac Mini with lots and lots of RAM and a really fast SSD drive. So just keep that in mind. But this is my desktop.
Hey, look at that there hot, IRC chat room. It's awesome.
Let me go away. Oh, look at that website. I have no idea.
Hey, that one looks pretty cool too, except for the giant banner at the top.
But if you can see, you'll notice that everything looks flat and everything looks like, well, most things look like iOS. They have the buttons that are morphic. They change. And down here, I don't know how good the feed is, but you'll notice that the buttons here are very flat, and they all retain that new Apple-y look. And I got to point this out. Look at this trash can. Let me get rid of this. That is the best looking trash can I've ever seen on a computer. Look at that. I don't want to empty it. I just want to keep it full.
Now, does it make a sound when you empty it?
Of course. Well, it should make a sound. I think it might have been muted because. But it sounds like a transformer.
Oh wow! Wait, open that back up. Open up your Finder. Look at all the icons. Look how flat and that's really actually pretty.
It's very pretty.
I'm impressed. I mean, here, wait. I want to compare it to mine. Oh, I like yours better. I think it is truly time for me to go out and jack me a beta.
And it's hard to express it, but the speed responsiveness is faster. It's noticeable.
Well, it's naturally going to get faster when you start stripping out all the junk.
Yeah, and you of course it has all the effects of the normal wish and whoosh, but now here's a big change right here.
That's the genie effect.
The genie effect is cool. It's useless, but it looks nice.
Yeah.
Now here's a big functionality feature. This is the new notification bar, which if you look at it, looks like iOS.
Oh, wow.
Here's a normal notification when things pop up. You may see something pop up, but here's the widget bar, which again is going to have, this is going to make an appearance.
Wait,
on
where's
iOS
the
8.
widget bar? Move your mouse around?
Right here. It's the same
okay.
bar. It's the notifications and the widgets. And as you can watch, I don't know if you can see this, but here's the weather widget. You can move it around like you could a normal widget.
It's gorgeous.
And of course, look at this, Computer America.
Wow.
And everything's tied into your calendar. So if you have a calendar here, you put something in, it auto-populates now, which is fun. Because I have Computer America in here, it's saved as as my presets. So I can just easily pop it in here, and of course I have iOS, and it pops in there. Weather, everything. It looks nice, and if you click on Edit.
Now, did you?
You can.
Oh, you don't have a mobile phone. Never mind.
I don't, but increasingly though, if I did, you see, that's the thing I'm almost proud of, because I can't use some of Yosemite's newest, coolest features, and because I don't have an iPhone. But if you do have an iPhone, and I expect probably Android at some point, they work together. The biggest feature, of course, is that you can now use your Macintosh as a phone. If you have your cell phone here, you can now make and receive calls through your Mac. And I think for video recording and what you guys do, that's going to be fantastic. That means you'll have Skype quality calls through your Macintosh as opposed to listening to someone on a cell phone. That's going to be great.
Looking forward to that one, yeah.
But another feature for productivity nerds like myself is called handoff. That means if you're doing something on your tablet, your iPad, or your phone, it'll create icons on your desktop, and then you can resume the work you're using. So it hands off. Things like AirDrop. AirDrop has always been useless on the Macintosh. I'm sorry, it's been a worthless feature. But if you have AirDrop on your iOS device, you can actually now transfer files like you could over Bluetooth if you have the right hardware. I believe it's 2011 and above, but that's a pretty big sword since most Macintosh users now are new Macintosh users. And so as far as from that goes, there's just a plethora of features I'm looking forward to using. And one big thing, and I can't miss it, if my friend Sam is watching or listening, because we were talking before the show, this is the new iMessage, which works much better. And please don't ask what that picture is. That's a Chicago nightlife. But,
Hey!
But this is how it looks. And I was showing him some pictures. I took some screenshots. This was a little bit earlier about how it looked. And I was showing him, and there's my trash can. That's beautiful. That's just absolutely gorgeous. That's my new background right there. Trash. But no, it's fantastic. Everything about it just looks better. It feels better, and there we go. That's pretty cool right there.
That's the important part.
That's the that's the native advertising that people hear about. But
I'll tell you, you have to make that as your wallpaper though. That's the effective way to do it.
I'm not that cheesy yet. When people go on shows and they're wearing their own banner and everything. I'm not quite that point yet.
So what are you saying? I'm cheesy?
I think I need to go higher and become more successful. So when I eventually fall, the drop will be fast, and then I'll be forced to be cheesy, and that will be interesting. No one likes a cheesy person who hasn't done anything. That's a D-lister. I'm not quite there yet. I'm an F-lister, but not a D-lister.
An F-lister?
I made it up. That's how you know you're an F-lister, when you have to label yourself.
Ah.
But you'll see here too. Look at the lines here. You'll see like the fonts are very readable, and of course the notifications look like iOS. It's only a matter of time before iOS and Mac merge, and there's
Before they converge, yeah.
Yeah, and to be fair, the way Apple's doing it is better than I've ever seen it. I know Google has tried it with versions of Android. You've seen those, and they haven't worked because it's one or the other. And Microsoft, unfortunately, they had a big disastrous melding with Windows 8 and the Windows RT tablets and everything. You can't make somebody use something that's not meant for that something. And with Apple, what they're doing is, to me, it seems like they're keeping Mac OS a desktop operating system. They're keeping iOS a mobile operating system, and they're sharing things through the cloud. And for now, that's a good match. I don't know if it will be that way in the future, but I know they haven't taken away the dock bar, like when Microsoft took away the Windows key. So if that ever happens, then there'll be hell to pay. But until then, they've done a great job. This is for anybody listening. It's this Mac with iOS flourish. It's definitely that.
Yeah, it's the anti-skeuomorphic thing that they did with iOS 7. They've taken out all the three-dimensional look to the icons are more flat again. They still have the detail to them, but they don't. The little black dot as opposed to the little glow that was under them before, and you don't see the shadow. The other ones you saw a shadow. It was like a reflection, like they were sitting on a glass surface. Here, that's gone now. It's just the items.
Well, watch this. Now there's a color scheme. I'm not sure if I like it, but it's called dark menu. So yeah, it's spooky sounding. But watch what happens. Everything turns dark.
Oh, look at that!
The problem I have with that, you'll see everything's darker, but some icons don't quite show up as well yet. They haven't been designed for it. So like, watch, if you look up here in my taskbar, watch what happens when I turn it back to light. You'll watch this. If I turn it back to light, I can see everything.
Mm-hmm.
So again, this is a beta. So if anybody remembers the Windows 8 beta, as opposed to what happened when Windows 8 came out, there were a lot of substantial changes. I suppose there's going to be some substantial changes between now and when it's released in October or November. But I got to tell you, for a beta, I'm very happy. It's very stable. All my programs worked. I haven't had any issues yet. I had issues with Mavericks. I use Photoshop, and my Photoshop CS6 program, I had lots of issues with it. When Mavericks came out, it didn't run correctly. But with
Did you do a clean install, or did you did an upgrade?
Upgrade.
Ooh.
You could do a clean install.
Yeah,
You could do it. I backed up everything with Time Machine. I mean, you'd be a fool not to. And I've been a
Yeah.
fool before, so I learned my lesson. But I got that backup right here on my desktop. But I got to tell you, I went with it. I took a chance, and I'm very happy with it. I'm waiting for the shoe to drop. I'm waiting for something to happen, but it hasn't happened yet. But everything, and here's parallels, just in case for Craig, who convinced me to get it. But
You don't like it?
I like it. I don't have to dual boot. It's not as fast. Let me be clear. Virtualization is not as fast. But for the Windows programs I need, I just pop open this, and I got Windows 8.1. And it's very handy. It's very nice. I use Windows quite a bit. So I'm not trying to. If anybody listening out there, I'm not trying to advocate Mac over Windows. This program is probably not going to convince anybody that Mac is better than Windows, because I certainly don't think that. But as an upgrade, it's a gigantic upgrade. And unlike Windows 8, it's a useful upgrade. As opposed to tiles and touchscreen, this is functionality. And if you're an iOS user, it's going to be a massive upgrade.
Let me ask you. I mean, now when you said the upgrade was extremely easy for you, let's clarify that you had Mavericks and you upgraded from Mavericks to this Yosemite. I'm wondering if you have, let's say, another version back, like Mountain Lion, or Lion, or Snow Leopard, How far back? The further back you go, I would imagine that it's going to be a little bit more stressful, would it not?
I believe that Apple allows a free upgrade from Lion. So if, from Snow Leopard. I don't quote me on that one, but I believe if on the upgrade page they actually ask you to. In fact, I can actually show you a little tip if you guys want to see it.
Sure.
I think I actually probably have it here somewhere. So in my nice trash can. So. I guess maybe it's gone. But basically what they do is they give you instructions how to upgrade from your Snow Leopard to Mavericks. Mavericks is required. And then from Mavericks, what will happen is you'll download it actually using the App Store. So the App Store will come open and it'll start downloading into your folder. And then from there, it just installs itself. And it's about 5.5 gigs. Not a small download, but on average, on par. And it works really well.
How long did it take you to download it?
To download, about 30 minutes, maybe that. My internet connection is decent. It's I have 20 megabits, and some people it's going to vary. But and keep in mind though, one last thing, there's not 30 million people up downloading it. It's less than 1 million people right now, so it's going to vary. So, and like all things, your experience will vary too. My advice is if anybody else has the beta, Time Machine backup, and go with it. Just go with it, and I think you'll be impressed.
Yeah, or just make a clone, of your current operating system that you want to, like using Super Duper, which is the one that I really love and use. And
I'm plugging in my backup drive now.
you use that? Do you have Super Duper? I don't know if you, Charles, if you have it, but you can make you make a complete.
Super Duper won't work on my machine.
Why?
Because my machines are all slightly different than the majority of the planet's machines. I have whole disk encryption, and then on top of that I have my home directory encrypted. So Super Duper is likely to choke on my encryption.
I know David Nanyan, he said it'll copy anything.
It probably will. But I bet it without looking at it, most things don't do a bit stream backup. They don't do a bit for bit end-to-end backup of the thing. They do your logical partitioning schemes. And because my partitions are set up differently on my machine, it'd probably choke.
Well,
or I'd have to go into advanced settings and figure out how to do it.
Well, I was gonna say you can do disk management and make a new partition, and you could install there. And I wanted to show you. This is another thing I just found out: the new Spotlight.
Well, that's cool.
It looks. I hate to say it. It's very Chrome OS like now.
Oh yeah, they are. It's just funny how they're converging.
Yep. And here's how it looks now. But disk utility. On disk utility, you could just create a new partition, and then you could install. I suppose you could install plain. I know Apple's a lot more flexible with operating systems than Microsoft is. There's no serial number. There's none of that. It's just install. So. But I was too lazy for that, to be fair. I took a chance, and I'm not looking back.
Well, if I'm going to do this, and I probably will, when I upgraded to Mavericks, I did not follow my own advice, and when I upgraded, fortunately, I made a clone backup. So when I realized that Mavericks didn't work with a number of things that I needed to have at the time, I just went back to the OS. What I'll probably do with Yosemite is when it comes out, I'll just let it mellow for maybe few weeks, and then when it's all, then I'll upgrade from my
Craig, just go for it.
Mountain Lion to Yosemite. That's always my words of advice to people when a new operating system comes out. I'm not talking about the incremental update, from OS 8 to 8.1 to 8.2, whatever it is. I'm talking about when it goes to the big number from 7 to OS 8 to OS 9. You want to. They're all OS 10, but they're OS 10, version 9, OS 10 version 8. You want to make sure that you make a clone of your hard drive, and then after maybe a week or two or maybe 3 weeks, see if any incremental updates go, and then use that one, and that's what you start off with. Because inevitably, they're always going to have upgrades. They're going to find bugs when they put it out into the world.
I'm still waiting for that, but I'll tell you this: the way my analogy for Yosemite in my short experience is that I feel it's most analogous to Windows 7. I know I compared it to Windows Vista for a minute because of the translucency, but for all the good things that Windows Vista did, it did do a lot of good things, mostly a visual overhaul and a lot of back-end stuff. It wasn't until they got to Windows 7 that they ironed the bugs out. If anybody's out there listening, Windows 7 is basically a fixed version of Vista.
Oh, wow, that was easy.
What?
Mm-hmm.
I am now a member of the beta program.
Now, where's this translucency that you've been talking about? I don't see it.
Well, I don't know if it comes through on the feed, but for example, if I'm here, you can see this. Let me open up something and I'll show you.
Yeah.
Like here is a website. Now look at the markers up here.
Yeah, I can see it behind it. Okay, I see them.
Yes, and it's a lot less gaudy than Windows Vista, but you'll notice it everywhere. You'll notice little things like this. But it's very if you have iOS 7, then you're already familiar with how it looks.
Well, but I have translucency too. I'm using a pull-down menu, and I can see what's behind the pull-down menu, and with a mountain lion, I see it.
It's a Gaussian blur that appears sometimes. It's not so much a trick. To be honest with you, Craig, I don't really think it adds that much. I think mostly the visual upgrade has to do with the way fonts are rendered now, and how clean things look, and how it's not just icons; it's just everything's been touched.
All right. Well, it's nice. It looks really, and again, the icons are coming up. For example, I'm looking at Photoshop. It looks like a blue square with a blue.
Now, some of these are the same. Like these are just icons. These carry over, but you'll notice on the new ones, everything's been given that new clean, polished look. And in some cases, like the Finder icon is, you'll see it. It's just got that nice new, modern, minimalist style.
Yours is different. Yours actually smiles. Charles still frowns when you look at his Finder.
Really? Well, he's smiling because he's got a new operating system.
I'm looking at it right now, and I'm like, as soon as I can figure out how to unbreak this program.
And there's a Twitter message from good old Computer America.
Yeah, exactly. So you're giving
it's already been redeemed.
You've already you redeemed it. So in other words, you like it. You're saying it looks good. Your recommendation is for people is to upgrade to it when it comes to it.
My recommendation is if you're comfortable with the upgrade, go ahead and do it. If you're less comfortable, take an option to either create a partition or create a clone. If you've been doing this a long time and you just don't want to hassle, I would say wait for the official release from Apple. This is a beta. And like all betas, it's not finished.
No, that's true.
And right now there's two. What's interesting, though, I will say this little commentary, is that the fact that we live in a country. Live in a time when beta programs are so available and so freely available. You and me and Charles and Ben and everybody and Grayson, we're all now enlisted beta testers.
Yeah,
it's a cool time.
Yeah, it is. All right, you're listening to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the Boost Radio Network, on the IRN Radio Network, and if you're watching us on our live streaming video page, we're actually demonstrating everything that we're talking about. So we encourage you to look and see what we're talking about on tonight's show. We're going to be right back. We've got a news tips bulletin with Marty Winston. We'll be right back with that. Stay with us.
Hey everyone, have you heard about the No hair removal device that's sweeping the globe? If you want to go weeks without shaving and get smooth, professional quality results, here's our favorite host, Cheryl, for No hair removal.
Thanks. Hey gals, I love talking about my No. It's this cute little hair removal system that you can take with you and use almost anywhere at home or on the road. No more expensive in-office treatments, painful waxing, and no more wasting your valuable time. Got unwanted facial hair? No has patented Thermocon technology that works on all hair and skin colors, so it's perfect for using on all body parts. And now you can take advantage of this incredible risk-free trial. Get the No, the facial kit, a travel case, and a $100 discount shopping card, and you don't risk a penny to try it. Try the incredible No hair completely risk-free. Call 1-800-953-5415. That's 800-953-5415. 800-953-5415.
Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission is to protect and enhance the lives of companion animals and the people who love them. Their no-kill rescue shelter is open year-round, making it easy for people to adopt their best new friend. This year, Brother Wolf will find homes for over 2,400 orphan dogs, puppies, cats, and kittens. All have ended up as an orphan through no fault of their own. Brother Wolf has created a safe, nurturing environment where these special animals can heal emotionally and physically until they find a lifelong home. Their life-saving transport program brings dogs and puppies from overcrowded shelters in the south to rescues in the north where homes are easier to find. Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is a 501c3 organization. To learn more about their life-saving work and to make a donation, visit their website at www.bwar.org. That's www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Oh, hello. This is Marty Winston for Computer America with a news tips bulletin review of the Hubbit Sync and Charge Station. Now imagine the bottom slice of a black pyramid, 17 centimeters square at the base, 3.5 centimeters tall, with a shiny flat black top. It's all plastic. The Hubbit Sync and Charge Station is a USB hub that has some cool things going on, but is ultimately disappointing. There's a USB-A port along the bottom on each of the 4 sides, and just above them, modules plug in with the retractable cords to a variety of connectors, an Apple 30 pin, a mini USB, micro USB, lightning connector. You can add 5 other modules sold separately, including wireless charging, Bluetooth, an SD card reader, more. When we removed its top, we see the 3x3 array of places for modules to go, but don't have a clue about how their connectors are supposed to be accessible through the lid. The disappointing element here is not that, but that even when you include the 900 milliamp upstream power feed that comes from a USB 3 port, there's only 4.9 amps total available here, meaning the 6th thing you plug in puts everything in danger of being power starved. What we're left with is a USB hub that's bigger than others, facilities that aren't universally usable, and a bad power strategy. Bottom line, the Hubbit Sync and Charge Station puts a lot of USB 3 choices in one place. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Sweet. Thank you for that one, Marty. We always enjoy the news tips bulletins here on Computer America Show. We are 33 minutes after the hour in the first hour of the Computer America Show. Craig and I are talking to Nate Evans from Popzara, and I'm downloading the newest OS 10.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
There was a flying object that just went by here.
There's a flying object that just went by you?
Yeah.
What was the flying object?
Like that.
Where is it? What is that? What was that? Was that a pen or a comb? What was that?
Yeah, we are.
I know we've got Nate the superhero here.
We're talking about Yosemite right now. The beta version is out, and Nathan Evans, managing editor of Popzara. or Yosemite, whatever you want to. That was my first. When I first saw it, I said, "Oh, it's called Yosemite." Yeah, it's Yosemite. And we are talking about some of the features that Nathan likes, and basically, we're getting a thumbs up from him. He really does like it, and I don't know why I'm surprised because I always, I'm not that. I mean, you're. I guess it seems that you're hard. You're very how is it? You really like to put products through their paces, Nate, and you don't always come up with a glowing review. But so when you do have something really nice to say about a particular product, I mean, you can pretty much say, it's gonna be good, and that's what I'm getting from you here is that you really like this, you enjoy it. Were you expecting not to like it? I mean, were you surprised? Were you what were you expecting?
Well, thank you for that, by the way. I'm a cynical optimist.
There it is.
I'm evil. I always hope for the best, but in reality, it almost never works out that way. And when you look at this sort of thing, when you look at the way Windows 8 has been going, when you look at new Android skins, when you look at certain elements of iOS, when you look at this, we don't live in a time when new means better. We live in a time when new usually means hastily slapped together with very little thought put into longtime users. Mm-hmm. Again, I point to Windows 8. I use Windows 8. I like Windows 8. I stood by Windows 8, but it doesn't mean I can't criticize Windows 8. When Microsoft took out the Start button, I thought that was the stupidest thing they've ever done. Why would you take out a feature that people like? The point should be let the user take it out. Don't take it out for them. When you take it out for them, you guide the experience. And when you're guiding 500 million people who have been using that Start button for 20 years, what you're saying to them is, too bad, there's your investment. And now they're going to couple it back at some point. They've done some half-edgers. But with Windows 8, Microsoft basically said, this is a touchscreen thing first, and it's a desktop operating second. That wasn't really the case because even Microsoft didn't know anything about their operating system. They were trying to please two markets. They were trying to please people who wanted something robust, and they wanted to please people who wanted something that was an iPad. And the result was a botched aberration that will go down in history as one of the biggest mistakes that any a company of Microsoft size has ever done. And that's the Surface RT tablet, which is the worst piece of garbage that Microsoft has put out since the Kin. The reason it's a piece of garbage is because it looked like Windows, it sort of functioned like Windows, but it wasn't Windows. I remember going into Best Buy and asking people what the difference was, just as a slight nod. No one knew what it was. They were selling this thing to people who thought it could play StarCraft. and the fact that Microsoft would intentionally create something that was a imitation product that did not do what the original product did just shows a gigantic misunderstanding of what they were doing. And as that applies to Yosemite, is that when you look at the last operating system from Apple, which was Mavericks, it didn't look that different than what came before. It didn't function that different. It didn't, not really. There was a lot of things under the hood, but that was Apple being cautious. Some people might say too cautious. This is a giant leap forward. And the ironic thing is, this is still very much Mac OS. However, it's Mac OS with a gigantic handshake. Literally, that's a tongue-in-cheek pun. A handshake to iOS. Whereas Microsoft jumped in and said, touchscreen, meet desktop. It was an arranged marriage, didn't work out, divorce court. What this is literally Apple saying, we like iOS so much that we're going to steal ideas from ourselves. And what that happens is not just the code of paint, but a lot of the cloud functionality. And that was, to me, that was Microsoft's biggest, for me, Craig, that was Microsoft's biggest advantage with Windows 8, is that it so much embraced the cloud. And Mavericks did that over Mountain Lion. But you see, now that it's 2 years matured, what I see Yosemite doing is not just embracing the cloud, it's interacting with the cloud in the way that mobile devices have been doing. For example, I showed you the sidebar. Yeah, it's a widget. People have had widgets. But isn't it great that you can do something on your phone and come home and it's there? Yeah. It's one thing to say, I put a contact in my phone and now it's on my desktop. But it's another thing to say, I can put something on my desktop It's on my phone. It's on my phone, my desktop, and you assume that that's the way it should work. There's no thinking about it. It's completely brainless. It's brainless to you and me, but to Apple, who took a lot of guffaw for making their biggest mistake in the last 5 years, which was Mobile Me. They put a lot into it, and it was Mobile Me was a terrible thing. And there's a really great story that I can't repeat on the radio about Steve Jobs chastising his employees, but needless to say, it's a classic Steve Jobs story. Anybody listening should look it up. But lots of four-letter words. But it's a visual overhaul, sure, but that's just cosmetic eye candy. It's cloud explosion all over your desktop. It's immediately faster, and that's a good thing. Anytime they can take old technology, anytime they can take old tech and make it run a little faster, I'm all for that. And again, going back to Microsoft, Windows 7 was faster than Vista. Vista had lots of problems. It ran like garbage on old machines. It burned them up. Windows 7 was very, very good on memory management. Yosemite runs faster. I have a Mac Mini. I know Charles is probably laughing, like that baby computer. But I like my Mac Mini.
My wife's got a Mac Mini.
Exactly. I'm pointing my finger at the screen, but I like my Mac Mini because I don't like stuff on my desk, and my Mac Mini is barely there. But it works great. It's a very powerful machine if you really want to be honest about it. But it runs faster. It looks better. It's more functional. I've spent about 4.5 hours with it, and everything works. I couldn't say that about Mavericks. Mavericks broke a lot of stuff, and it crashed a lot. I haven't had this crash. It hasn't crashed. Every program works. Everything works. My speed is up. If this is a beta, I can't wait to see, A, how much better the real version is going to be, or B, how much Apple's going to screw it up. But until then, I'm liking it. I like the beta.
Well, my backup is complete. I have 868 megabyte, 870, 890, 900. Yeah, I'm downloading the beta now.
Cool.
So hopefully by the end of the show,
you need to get Greg on the beta.
I can switch over to one of my other boxes that I have in the immediate area, and I can install it in a commercial break.
Yeah.
And today's Computer America brought to you by Apple Computers and Yosemite. So, no, and Craig, thank you for the nice aside about testing stuff. But I might be an editor, I might be a managing editor, but I'm a consumer too. I would never recommend junk. If I think it's junk, I'll tell you it's junk, and I don't think it's junk.
And you see, because that's refreshing, because so many people who are given the responsibility of being an editor and they don't do that. They go ahead and they just hey, especially if they're being paid to do so.
Well, a lot of times, and I don't want to say who because of professional courtesy, a lot of people, especially in mainstream tech news, they not only get, first of all, they do get paid to review. Their job is to review things. They don't pay for the products they're reviewing. They don't have to go out there. And that, I'll tell you right now, that's a big thing for me.
Well, the other thing is
that's really a job that I want. I would love to be thrown a whole bunch of products and be like, here, review these, if I ever had the time.
It can be tough, especially when you have boxes of mice come in. I know on Popzara, we have very good relationships with people, and on most of the products that we review on Popzara are complimentary editorial samples. Some we give back, some we don't. But it doesn't matter. What matters is that each product is considered its own product, and we don't accept native advertising. We've been asked. We get offers all the time that people want to put ads on the site in exchange for product samples, and that's just not going to happen. And I won't say who, but I remember there was a CES a few years ago, and we received a very expensive computer, the most expensive thing we've ever had on the site. It was a wonderful computer, and they wanted to tell us how to do the review. They wanted to say what it was, and we lost them as a partner because we refused. And I don't say that as a way to say, hey, look at how great we are, but it's not very demonstrative of your product if you have to tell somebody what to say. The product should speak for itself. If your product's crap, it's crap. You know it's crap. If it's not crap, then let it stand for itself. And that's the do's and don'ts of it. And that's it. To me, it's very, very easy.
That takes a lot of what should I, how do I say it? Ethical, moral standards to be able to look and say, hey, here's a brand new computer you can have for free. Just say this, So and to say no, we're not going to say that. And
It is yes, it is. It is what's known as the editorial sword of Damocles. The idea is that you have an entire company hanging over your head, and you have to be able to look at them and say, "I'm so sorry, but I have to treat you fairly." And they don't like that. They think they can buy their way into it. And to be generous, to be fair, most companies are not like that. Most companies are perfectly cool because, and here's a little secret I'll reveal to you. It's because they know that most reviews don't matter. Most people do not base their buying preferences on reviews. Most reviews work on something called confirmation bias. If you don't like the product, you won't care. You may read a review and say, "Oh, I've heard that's bad." If you like the product, then you care. And a really good example of that is not tech, unfortunately, but movies. Go to Rotten Tomatoes. Look at the highest reviewed movies of the year, and look at the highest grossing movies of the year. They're a mirror image of each other. They hate Transformers, but man, did people see that film? But if your film is a silent black and white French film about a monkey with a banana, then your film is going to get 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, but nobody's going to see it, not even the monkey.
Why?
Okay, monkeys did very well at the box office this year.
No monkey for you.
Well,
but it's, and I will say one last thing about this is that the opening of blogs and websites have made it so challenging for people. That there's actually been legislation employed where blogs now have to disclose if they're getting paid to promote products. That's not true for all mediums. And Craig, you probably heard of these people, mommy bloggers. Mm-hmm. They treat editorial like Tupperware. They get together and they throw parties and they blog about it. And it's a new world, and it's very difficult to try to navigate through it. But to me, it's not hard. It's we treat everybody fairly. It's a radical concept, but it shouldn't be.
Yeah. Well, as you say, it's the day and age we live in. I mean, anybody can start a blog, and if they do it right, they can get an enormous amount of readers. Used to be, you had to step on a soapbox on a street corner, and that was your best option. And now, of course,
we know a perfect example of what's going on in California, San Diego Comic-Con. It used to be just for comic book nerds. You went in there, you had a big stack of comic books. You got in there, no one cared. You can go meet Stan Lee if you're happy. But now it's become this smorgasbord of sellouts and sycophants. No offense, it's a fun place to be, but movie companies and gaming companies and tech companies, they've invested millions in Comic-Con because
big dollars. But comics are, look,
big dollars. Yeah, huge.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, did you see that? I don't know if you saw that news story. We did yesterday. Actually, Ben brought to my attention an Action Comics number. Was it the number one? The first that mentioned Superman is going up for an auction on eBay. I don't know if you saw that. Action Comics, with the Superman's holding the car over his head. It's the first comic where he appears, and they're estimating that the auction is going to bring that comic book is going to bring anywhere from $2 to $3 million for a comic book that sold for 10 cents in 1938.
Well, I have the exact same comic book that I'll only sell you for $5 million, Craig, if you really want it.
And one of the things that they were commenting about this particular comic, it was because another one was sold by Nicolas Cage. He owned one, but he said that this comic book was in so much better condition than the one that Cage had. He said, this matter of fact, the people who rate these things, who give them the quality of the condition they're in, said that it was brand new. That the pages were white as opposed to yellow, and there were no dog ears. It was like someone had taken one of these things back in 1938 and just put it in a plastic bag or something, which I don't think they had plastic bags in 1938. Somehow preserved it, so it was like they said it looked like it's new, literally. Like if you go to the comic and here it is from 1938. I don't know how they preserved it. But and they're saying,
how do they authenticate these things? Like how do they know they just didn't go and and print this thing themselves? How do they actually authenticate them? Anybody know?
Yeah, there's a version of carbon dating, but they don't use carbon. They use radiotopes. I forget the term for it because they use this for a lot of artwork too. Because did you know, this is a true story, that until forgive me, I'm going to get the year wrong, but I think it's 1950 or somewhere around there, that the introduction of the atomic bomb has changed the atmosphere of the world so much that you can detect radioisotopes that are in certain types of carbon filaments that simply weren't present in the air before then. And that's one of the biggest authenticators for distinguishing the authenticity of certain things before a certain time. And they have other tests too, acidic tests, you know, paper, like the U.S. Government Copyright Office, they use something, called archival paper, which is acid free, and it's a high stock. But of course, Action Comics number 139 is probably made on, crappy newsprint, and so it's the fact that it hasn't, disintegrated right now is pretty remarkable.
Yeah, you can go and actually read the comic book. They have a link. You can actually see the comic and read it page by page. It turns, the pages turn. It's really quite impressive what they do. But this particular comic, as I said, is in immaculate condition, and it is just. And even the people who rate it, it was the highest possible rating they could give to a comic book, and they gave it to this particular one. It's going. I guess one of the main reasons why it's selling between for $2 to $3 million, and then using eBay to do it. They're not going to Sotheby's. They're not going to. They're going to eBay. It's going to be up on eBay.
They can reach the entire planet doing that one.
Yeah.
It's what's silly. What's funny is that just yesterday, Marvel announced that they're going to have a comic book thing for digital readers, Comixology or something, where you can get 15,000 comics for a dollar.
Mm-hmm.
And see, that's what's different is that you'll read more comic books for a dollar than anything you'll get spending $20 million on that Action Comics. It's because
it's a collector's item, obviously.
It is, but it's like it's not enjoyable at that point. It's more like a treasure now. It's something that you can't enjoy. You have to say you have it or you don't have it. And it's like I said, I'm not a cynic or anything, but I guess I am. The idea, I don't know. It's just to me, I would rather have a reprint where I can enjoy it as opposed to something I have to put under glass where no one can touch it.
Well, maybe the person who's buying it will have a duplicate of it that he can enjoy reading it, but then alongside of it is the actual one that he has. Because obviously, if it's in such a perfect condition, you don't want to have chocolate over your fingers and and turning the pages. You don't want to do that for obvious reasons.
It's pretty amazing that it survived. No one knew that was going to be anything.
I still can't understand how that's possible because again, 1938 is when it came out, and I don't believe we had plastic. I know we didn't have plastic bags, so I don't know how. First of all, who would buy that? And at that time, put it in such a condition where it's preserved. I mean, they would okay, I know this is going to be valuable someday, and I'm going to put this in some sort of airtight something. I don't know how. What could they possibly do to do that?
It's funny. If you look at the comic books that came around that time, 1939 or 38 or whatever it was, there were some really stupid comic books that came out, really dumb characters. Mothman, Magic Man, Question Man. Out there is some comic nerd that has 40 issues of Mothman, and he wonders why nobody wants him. Because you picked the wrong superhero.
Yeah.
People want Superman. They want, the last son of Krypton. They don't want Mothman or Bug Woman or whatever.
Well, Mothman, they're all from Earth.
Popzara Man. Popzara Man. Well, look at me. I mean, who am I to talk? I'm a lucador. But no, we have an appreciation for art. We have a deep appreciation for comics and cartoons and stuff like that. But for me, I prefer the art form to be alive, and I think ironically, it's more popular than it's probably been in decades because of the digital stuff. Don't get me wrong, digital stuff to me is not as good. It actually looks better. If you have an iPad Air and you look at a comic book, that thing was made for that. It was made digitally on a Wacom tablet. It looks awesome. It looks perfect. I still prefer paper, and so I get that. But and I don't read comic books per se, but it's interesting. It's just and going back to Comic-Con for a second, if you guys go there, if you love comic books, that's not the place to be. You'll hate it because it has nothing to do with comic books anymore. It's so far divorced from that. It's about marketing. It's about marketing and viral marketing and social media and making a lot of money.
Well, okay. Listen, we're coming up to the top of the hour break, but if you could stay maybe for a little bit longer, an hour or two, we got some things I still want to talk with you.
Sure.
And we can do that, and then Charles is working on some computer stories, technology news stories that we'll do in the second hour. But given that Ant-Man, yeah, given that Comic-Con, have you been to a Comic-Con, or do you plan to go to them, or I mean?
It's not my thing. I've been to most trade shows. I learned a long time ago I don't enjoy them. I know people that go. I've had editors that gone before, but it's not a press thing anymore. It's a fan driven thing. It's a fan driven thing that pretends it's for the press. And if you enjoy that sort of thing, it's what it is. I mean, it's the best in the world at what it does. It's just a big orgy of nerd pop culture.
Well, would you say any conventions anymore today are for the press or for media?
Oh, the boring ones, sure. There's book fairs. There's actually some nice ones. Anyone that doesn't get featured on CNN and Fox is usually pretty good, because a convention is different than an expo, right? And you have trade shows, which are different than there. You don't want the general public allowed. I know that sounds very elitist, but you don't want the general public, because you have people who spend a portion of their budget on demonstration products that are meant for the press. And if the general public lines up like a carnival, that means less time for the press. That means less time for the press to see the product, use the product, and all this. And you have people taking pictures. And to make a very long story short, 15 years ago, E3 was a very good example of a very decent press show. And E3 2014 is a very good example of what happens when a press show goes bad. It becomes a worthless show. It's like we didn't even go this year. It's worthless. There's no reason for a small website or a small press to go, because there's absolutely nothing you can do there for the most part that you can't get from just watching it on TV or watching it on the internet. It's become a ruined experience, and that's really sad.
Oh, what?
What? So what?
One of the news stories.
Yeah.
News stories?
Yeah.
I didn't do it.
Well, anyway, so
Google to acquire the streaming site Twitch.
Who? Oh yeah, that was like a week ago, wasn't it?
What?
Google's buying everything.
Yeah.
Well, they're Google. They can do that.
Well, they haven't bought this show though,
so they can sue them.
But so you don't go to any of these things, or do you go to some?
Reluctantly. I went to E3 last year because one of my editors had a cancellation. Mm-hmm. I mean, there are good reasons to go. You know, I met one of my new editors at Popzara at Josh Boykin at E3, but that's because I couldn't have done that unless it was a press show. So I mean, I hope you don't think I'm being too cynical in saying that there's no value. But generally speaking, what's happening is that these big companies have learned to not go for quality and go for quantity. And it's sort of like if you go to a grocery store and you're at the checkout aisle and you look around, you see all those magazines that are on the checkout aisle, and you're not going to see Time and The Atlantic and Newsweek. You're going to see the Globe, National Enquirer, and Women's Day. Garbage magazines that appeal to the lowest bottom,
Yeah, you're right. I don't notice Time magazine anymore by the cash registers. It's always
Well, I almost had to say, "Whoops, is Time magazine still around?" But I know Newsweek is gone. But generally speaking, if you go to one of these shows and you go there with your laptop and your notebook and you want to get some work done, you have to compete against 50,000 fans who are running around in costumes, giving each other hugs and standing in line and cheering and playing scavenger hunt with swag. It's very disruptive, and I can tell you for a fact that developers and product manufacturers, they don't like that because these people won't talk about their product. They don't care, and everyone is geared towards the big stuff. And there's lots of other reasons too. I don't want to bash on the show too much, but generally speaking, unless you have a good budget, unless you have an angle that's different, they're not very helpful.
All right. Well, listen. Here's what I want to do. I want to talk a little bit about some of the games, like for example, Halo Nightfall. One of the things I want to talk to you about in the second hour, and then Nathan has agreed to stay on to part of the second hour as we continue. And then of course we'll have computer and technology news. brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. We're going to take a small break. Of course, we'll have another news tips bulletin of Marty Winston. We'll have that in the second hour as well. You're listening to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the Boost Radio Network, on the IRN Radio Network, watching our live video streaming, brought to you by Otherworld Computing. We're going to be right back. Stay with us.
Broadcasting live, it's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into hour two of the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
I don't know how to say it in Spanish, but I'm your co-host, Charles Tendell.
Yes, you are. And we're continuing on. Nathan Evans, managing editor of the Popzara magazine.
Is Nathan editor?
Nathan editor, the managing Evans of.
Well, good. I don't have to change my monogrammed towels.
No, exactly. Nathan Evans, managing editor of Popzara magazine, continues on with us. The other thing I wanted you to talk a little bit about is movies, which we didn't get a chance to. So let's kind of again, if you have a question or comment for a guest, toll free, not toll free. The direct line number is 347-884-8881. 347-884-8881. Get you on, get you through email live@computeramerica.com. Our chat room, just click the chat room button on our homepage. It'll take you to our IRC, a free node chat room where you can participate. A lot of people in there having a good time. Nathan Evans is there as well. Nathan has the gray little ball next to him signifying that he is a voice. He has been given voice status, so that means he's the guest. You can see his name there. And now, I don't know if you see those in your. If you're not using things like Chatzilla, I don't know if you see that next to your name, Nate. But Nate Evans 3000. What's the color of the little ball that's next to yours? Is it gray, green, what?
On my screen?
Yeah, on your screen.
Well, I don't see the ball, to be honest with you, on mine.
All right, that's it. So that's probably a Chatzilla then. But he's been given voice status, so we have that. You can do that there, and of course you can watch our live Computer America video streaming page, brought to you by Otherworld Computing. No, I always get it backwards. There it is, Otherworld Computing. Quality products, expert support since 1988. Celebrating the 25th anniversary. Visit them at www.maxsales.com. And so we continue on with Nathan Evans, and let's talk a little bit about Halo Nightfall.
Well, there's not much known. I know they debuted a teaser trailer for it. It's not a game. It's not quite a movie. It's something in between. From what I understand, it's a prequel series that'll be produced by, the legendary Ridley Scott, and it will follow the story of a original character, and supposedly bridges the gap between Halo 4 and Halo 5. And the reason we don't know much about it is because a lot of people are worried that the future of the Halo movie franchise and TV show franchise is in jeopardy. Because I know you talked about it on the show before, but Microsoft had a serious financial setback not too long ago where they laid off 18,000 people. And a lot of those came from the closing of their Xbox entertainment division. And that was supposed to be the producer of a lot of shows, including a Steven Spielberg produced Halo series, which kind of in limbo now. We don't really know what's going to happen. There was some documentary about the unearthing of ET cartridges in the desert, and again, this Halo Nightfall. I think we're just going to have to watch the Comic-Con covers to see what comes out of it. It's still pretty new, but for anybody interested, the first teaser trailer was posted online, and it's been pretty popular. I know, speaking of betas, that Microsoft's going to sell a collection of the Halo games. I think Halo 1 through 4 re- slightly remastered on the Xbox One console, and it's going to include a beta for Halo 5, and I think Nightfall will be there to sort of answer some questions. I think it could be fun. I've never been the biggest Halo fan. I do like it. I play all the games. Most of my friends and I, we play cooperative. I'm not much for online multi. I'm not for deathmatch. I always get killed. But if you're a Halo fan, I think it's probably a pretty good time to be a Halo fan. I think Microsoft's going to come out with a lot of good, interesting stuff this year, and hopefully next year too.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about movies. I know you're a big movie buff, and so am I, and I believe Charles is too. Although I have to say, I've missed a couple of movies that I know that I will be seeing them because of they weren't as big a blockbuster, I guess, as I thought. One of them I wanted to see, which is A Million Ways to Die in the West. I think that bombed, and I'm sure I'm going to see that coming up on HBO soon or something like that. But Godzilla, I also missed. Did not see it. I meant to see it. Still haven't brought myself to see Transformers 4: Age of Extinction, and one other one, Earth the Echo. I've had mixed feelings about that. Have you seen or heard? Have you seen Earth the Echo yet?
Haven't seen it, but don't feel bad because no one really saw it. It was a bomb. In fact, what's interesting, don't feel bad at all because summer 2014 is the worst summer for Hollywood since.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
Hey, I gotta run. Dee was apparently in a car accident.
Oh no, is she okay?
Yeah, my boy just called me. I gotta go.
Okay.
Good luck, Charles. Good luck.
Out.
Yeah.
I'll be here the remainder of the show, Craig.
I guess you'll be here the remainder of the show.
So,
exactly.
I wish Dee the best. She's a great lady. I love talking to her. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's change the subject.
Yeah. No. So we were talking Echo, and you said that
yes. According to box office reports, Hollywood box office take for this summer is the worst for Hollywood since 2001, and that includes big movies like Transformers, and basically this will be the first Transformers film to not outgross its predecessor in America. In the world, I don't think it's going to surpass the last one. It's done very well globally. It's the biggest movie of the year, but in America, it's not. It hasn't done quite as good as they expected, and neither did a lot of films. There's been a few surprises. I think the big surprises of the year have been some of the comedies like 22 Jump Street, especially the Lego Movie. That's been one of the biggest blockbusters of the year.
Well, what did you think of Edge of Tomorrow? Because I thought it was very good. I liked it.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Edge of Tomorrow was a movie that most people didn't want to see, but those who saw it said they loved it and like, wow, that's better than I thought. It didn't do very well in America. It basically, from last time I checked, it almost crossed 100 million in the United States. In the world, it's made I think over 400 million. So it's a typical Tom Cruise movie. It does very well. Don't feel bad for Tom. Don't take up a collection. He's doing fine.
Now, this Friday, 2 movies are coming out that I do want to see, and as it's been a while since I've been to the movie. The first one is Lucy. I've been wanting to see that since I saw the first preview with Luc Besson. I mean, Luc Besson. I've been a fan of his ever since the Fifth Element. I thought it was a marvelous movie. But Lucy looks very good, so that's one. And then don't laugh at me, but I think I'm going to go see Hercules with.
You know what? That movie looks like a ridiculous pile of fun, and I like The Rock. I think The Rock is the only major action star. I said major. I think there are other ones. Major action star that could have survived in the 1980s. I think he's got the personality. He's got the look. I like him. The movie looks stupid, but it looks like fun. And there was another Hercules movie that came out this year.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, that was garbage.
Yeah.
And so, so I'm on board with the new Hercules. I'd like to see it.
Yeah, and again, I'm not a huge fan of it, but I do want to see that. And then on the 1st of August, a lot of press, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
I will definitely want to see that.
That is a movie that I'm going to hold my breath for. It looks fun. If you're a geeky movie fan, which I used to be, I don't follow it anymore, but it's directed by a guy named James Gunn, who got his start doing schlock for a company called Troma, garbage films. I don't know if you ever saw them. The Toxic Avenger,
Oh yeah, right. Yes, exactly. Yes.
Poultrygeist. Oh goodness, I can't even remember half the names. They were garbage movies, and they were so much fun. You know, Toxic Avenger 2 is one of my favorite movies of all time that I'm ashamed to admit I like. But I love it, and Gunn got his start there. The trailers look great, but honestly, Greg, all trailers are supposed to look great. I hope it's good. There's a general consensus in Hollywood. You can kind of tell how Hollywood feels a movie's going to do by when it releases it. For example, there was a movie that was supposed to come out this summer called Jupiter Rising, starring Chatham Tatting or whatever his name is.
Channing Tatum, and you know, he got. I understood it got put off because of the Jump Street movie. They didn't want two Channing Tatum movies at the same time or something.
Who knows? But there's another movie with him coming out with Steve Carell. Forgive me, the name escapes. Where he plays I believe, a wrestler, and they're going to push that movie for an Academy Award for everyone involved. But when a movie gets pushed from summer to February, that's not a good sign. In fact, the last time a major release happened like that was because of Chatham Tatting. It was G.I. Joe 2, supposed to come out in summer, got moved to February. It was a terrible movie.
You know, that was so crazy because they have a star like Channing Tatum, and he dies. I'm sorry for spoiler, but he dies like in the first part of the movie, and he's gone. You know, I was watching this. Oh, he's going to come back. He was dead, and it was like in the first 15 minutes of the movie. I mean,
there were a lot of us who cheered that. He's an interesting guy, but he's not a very good actor, and he had the leadership quality for that film as a lunk of wood, and he was one of the worst things about the first G.I. Joe. He's not very good in it, and when we heard they were going to kill him off and replace him with The Rock, that's just a major improvement. But I guess they delayed the film and they filmed more scenes with him. They had him come back and they spliced some more chatting in there. So,
well, you know, there's for example, you say he's a terrible actor, but I saw him in a movie just recently with where I'm blocking the name of it. It's about a movie about this couple who was married for a while and everything, and then a car accident, and she forgets who he is. Well,
I mean, I have to be careful because I hope I didn't make it sound like I think he's a terrible actor. He's a terrible actor in certain roles, and you know he's had a really great year. He's come back at a lot of really good stuff like Magic Mike, the Jump Street films. You know, he's been funny, and you know he was actually in the Lego film. He played Superman.
Oh, really? I didn't know
that. It was really funny. Yeah, and Jonah Hill played the Green Lantern. Those two have a good rapport. And if you haven't seen it, please see the Lego movie. The Lego movie is fantastic. It's one of the better movies of the year. One of the funniest.
Now, has it come out on HBO or one of the?
I think it just came out on Blu-ray.
Okay, so it's going to be a while then before it hits.
Yeah, but it's absolutely fantastic. It's funnier than you might think it is. And if you do watch it, no spoiler, but watch till the very end.
Oh yeah, I all these movies I sit through all the credits because I know you're gonna 9 times out of 10 something. You know, especially the Marvel movies. Marvel was always something at the end. I think every film is not only at the end, but they also right after the credits will have something and then something else at the very end. So, yeah.
You know, and it's been a good year for Marvel at the box office. You know, Captain America. Even a movie like Spider-Man, which is technically a disappointment, still made I think $700 million at the global box office. X-Men. X-Men was a gigantic blockbuster. It was the biggest movie in the franchise, one of the biggest comic book movies ever. Well, pretty well received despite the controversy around Bryan Singer and his the lawsuit. But if you're just looking at it as a film, I haven't seen it myself. I can't comment, but it's gotten good reviews. People seem to like it. It revived the X-Men franchise.
Now, another one that they're doing I don't know if it's a reboot, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, I saw the first one, and I thought it was but it was basically mostly guys in costume. Evidently now they're using full CGI and the animation, it looks like they're really there. Their mouths move appropriately. So all that technical stuff, and they've remade it. Did you like the first one, or do you like the concept of that?
I got to be very careful here because I'm a child of the 80s, and if you're a child of the 80s, then there's basically 3 things that mean a lot to you in this sort of thing. One, Transformers. It just there's no way around it. If you're of my age, you like Transformers.
Mm-hmm.
2, it's a tie. The tie would be between Voltron. I'm sorry, I'll just say Voltron was another one, but the tie would be between G.I. Joe and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And with Turtles, particularly, Craig, I actually grew up about 15 minutes away from where the Turtles were made. I grew up in New Hampshire, and there was an art store out there where the two guys, Laird and Eastman, used to buy their supplies. And if you look at Popzara, you can see that we have cartoons all over the website. That's because, in my blood is graphic design and cartooning. And how silly and how stupid and how awesome and how great. What a concept of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And it confounds people because it sounds like it doesn't work. It sounds stupid. But in reality, it's just a play off the Daredevil comics. It's everything's a pun off the Daredevil franchise. And it works because it believes in the concept. And you have such an interesting, simple premise. It's done really well. It's been done well, and it's been done badly. It's been done very badly. But again, if you're a child of the 80s, you were probably a Jim Henson fan. And if you're a Jim Henson fan, then you know what I'm going to say is that the first live-action Turtle movie, Jim Henson's Creature Shop made the Muppets, made the costumes. Yeah. It's one of the very last things he worked on before he passed away. I remember sitting in the third row from the front on the opening night of the Turtle movie in 1990, and it was fantastic. It was wonderful. It was a great movie. It holds up.
So what do you think of this one? I've seen the previews for it. So
well, I don't follow the cartoons. I know we cover them on Popzara because one of my editors is a gigantic Turtle fan and he thinks the Nickelodeon cartoons are wonderful. I do know that Michael Bay, whether you love him or not, he resurrected the Transformers, and he's producing, not directing, the new movie. I forget the director's name, but I believe he did Clash of the Titans and a few other things. And he's not the best director. But it's not a hard concept to get right. In fact, it'd be really hard to mess it up, and mess it up they did. In 2007, they made an all CG version of the Turtles in the theaters called TMNT, and the animation was okay, but the movie was atrocious. It was really bad. I'm all for it. It's kind of funny. I actually had this discussion just the other day on the internet. Everybody with a camera and a YouTube channel has been downplaying this movie, and they all. And this is the point I was trying to make about Comic-Con. Everybody with a camera has been saying this movie looks terrible, this movie looks disgusting, and they all mislabel it as a Michael Bay directed film because we're so quick to look at the trailer and bash it and not actually pay attention. I type in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles into YouTube, look at some of the trailer reviews of this trailer, Craig, and count how many people say that Michael Bay is directing it, count how many say that they're about space aliens. People don't even watch the trailer. They jump right to the comments and they criticize and they malign and they hate because they want to have attention. To be honest with you, I think the trailer looks great. I think the movie looks like it could be fun. I love that they captured the spirit of the characters. They're talking to each other. They're playing with each other. Yeah. I love the cast. I think the cast is inspired. Even Megan Fox, and she's probably the fakest thing in the movie, and that includes the CG. But no, I mean, people criticize, but the original April O'Neil was a black lady. So when they talk about going back to the old April O'Neil, well, Zoe Saldana can't be in everything, but no, I think the CG looks great. I think they look gross. People complain that they have nostrils, but turtles have nostrils.
Yeah.
The old cartoons look. It's nostalgia versus reality, and to be honest with you, they said the exact same thing about the Transformers films, that they didn't look right, they looked terrible. I think it turned out okay. If the movie's okay, then it'll turn out okay. I say bring them back. I think the world's a better place for having the turtles in them.
Well, good. And I wondered about, because this Transformer movie I think this was the first one where it didn't have the original star. What was his name?
LaBeouf or
Shia LaBeouf. Yeah. What was with that? Is that because he had personal problems or something? I guess that was.
I think he just ran its course. I think if you look at the Pirates of the Caribbean films, the fourth one was the first one not to have the original cast minus Johnny Depp. I think that I just ran his course. Personal problems, probably. I mean, he starred in a movie this year where it was rated NC-17. It was borderline porno. and his personal problem. Yeah, he's in drug rehab. I wish him the best. He's a talented actor, but the Transformers franchise is much bigger than any of the humans.
Well, you hear stories of how people can. I mean, look what happened with the Iron Man 3, Iron Man, what's his name?
Downey Jr.
Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. Yeah, I mean, he had all kinds of drugs. He came back big time. And
well, you know what? 15 years ago, he was considered washed up. No one wanted anything to do with him. He couldn't get a role. He took bit parts, and he used to be one of the most promising actors of the 80s. He had a gigantic thing, and cocaine, alcohol, all these problems. Yep. And just yesterday, it was revealed that for the second year in a row, he's the highest paid actor in Hollywood, and he wasn't even in a movie.
Wow.
And you know what? People love him. He's a great actor. He's great in everything he does. I read a story about him not too long ago, Craig. They said when he was going through his trouble, the person who saved him was Mel Gibson.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And now you know what I mean. That's fascinating stuff.
Wow.
And I did read that they're going to be making a third Sherlock Holmes movie, and I know Downey Jr. said he's trying heavily to get Sean Connery to come out of retirement to be in the film. And I think Robert Downey Jr. is great for that, and I think another guy who was what's his name? He played the villain in the second Mickey Rourke. Mickey Rourke was another one. He was considered, one of the up-and-coming great actors, and he got into a mess, and he went through all that trouble, and he was a has-been, and he's had a nice comeback, and he starred with Robert Downey Jr.
He's in the new Sin City, Sin City 2. He played. It's a reprisal of the same character he did in the first one. Although in the first one he got electrocuted, but evidently I don't know if it's a prequel or he somehow comes back. I don't know. So
it's the movies, and but no, it's great that these people can get their lives back together, and we live in a world where all these cynical millennials they criticize Tom Cruise because he's weird, but but they won't see his film, but then they'll see it, they like it. It takes a lot of effort to distinguish between fact and opinion. And online, it's really hard to believe what you read because most of what you read is not based on fact. It's based on, it's based on assumption. It's not based on first-hand knowledge. Ask somebody what do they think of Edge of Tomorrow 3 months ago? Oh, it looks terrible. I don't want to see it. If they saw it, I love it. One of my favorite movies of the year.
I thought it was going to be a Groundhog Day on steroids, and in a way it is. Yeah, I mean, he gets to relive the same moment, but it's cleverly done, and so and if you add cleverness to something, you can let you get away with just about anything, and I thought it was well done.
It's the old secret of success. Execution is always more important than originality, and if you execute something well, you can get away with being derivative. And I'm not saying Edge of Tomorrow was derivative. I mean, in some ways it was, but it was really well done. I would say it was the movie of the summer, if you're asking me. And I haven't seen the Apes movie, and I've heard nothing but good things about Apes.
I'm sorry, I saw the first Apes, and I guess it's just the premise. I have a hard time getting around it. That they could get around and do that. I have difficulty suspending my disbelief for that movie.
Apes.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't. A suspension of disbelief is just too difficult for that movie for me. So
you must hate Godzilla then.
No, because Godzilla gets it in the end. So
no, I don't want to spoil anything. I guess no, but Godzilla is the hero.
Yeah, I know. In the Matthew Broderick version, he gets killed. So
that doesn't count.
Yeah, it doesn't count. Okay.
We don't. We're going to be like that movie where they take out your memories.
Yeah.
That movie. I'm wrong. I'm sorry. If anybody's listening, I take that back. I don't want to ever forget the Matthew Broderick movie because as soon as we forget it, we'll redo it, and I don't want that to ever come back again.
Okay. Well, there it is. Redos are good. I mean, sometimes they do really, really well. And again, I'm a huge Superman fan. I always have been, and for many different reasons. But the last the Man of Steel I thought was outstanding. It was the best Superman movie to me ever done. I mean, he was not made to be a comedic character like in the original was it with Christopher Reeve. They started out serious, and then it went into this slapstick kind of thing, and each one they made after it got worse and worse, and and it was awful.
That's true. The last two weren't very good, but
The first
I
two,
I love Christopher Reeve.
Yeah, yeah.
I love his portrayal.
Yeah, and it was fine. But I think the Man of Steel is the most realistic. You know, if something like that, if a character like that could exist in our world, it was done extremely realistic.
Well, I disagree. I think Superman versus the Mole Men was the most realistic. No, but it's funny. If speaking of that movie, there's been a lot of talk because again, this is Comic-Con. Expect to see a lot of that, and they just released some pictures this week of Ben Affleck. Some new pictures of him as Batman.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think he looks great. I mean, the costume looks great, and and what's really interesting is that if you're a nerd about this, or if you're a geeky nerd about this, and I admit I'm a little bit, it's interesting how the media is using Kevin Smith as a cipher. You know, Kevin Smith, if anybody doesn't know, he's the biggest movie geek in the world. He's become famous for being a movie geek, not just the director of Clerks. And he's made some comments that he's visited the Justice League set, and now the Star Wars set, and he's given speeches about what, not any details, but about how great they look and how wonderful they look, and that's sort of to build the geek cred, to get people on the side, and that may or may not be true, but he's certainly talking the shop that these movies are going to be great. So
yeah, and again, I'm not so disappointed, but I thought the original the last the trilogy of the Batman with
Christian Bale.
Yeah, Christian Bale. Thank you. I thought they were very well done. I thought the last one was the best. I mean, I enjoyed those. Again, very realistic done. It wasn't comic bookish. It wasn't slapstick. It was very serious, and I enjoyed it. I was a little disappointed when I heard that Christian Bale was not going to reprise the role again, but I think Ben Affleck will. I did not like Ben Affleck in Daredevil. I mean,
no. Ben Affleck didn't like Ben Affleck in Daredevil.
Yeah, that was not good. But I certainly think that the Man of Steel movie was extremely well done, and hopefully this next one is going to be just of the same caliber.
There is one good thing about the Daredevil movie that no one ever talks about.
Yeah.
The good thing about Daredevil, the movie with Ben Affleck, is that by comparison, it made the subsequent Elektra spinoff seem like a masterpiece.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Hollywood's learned a lot in the last 10 years about how to make these things, and Disney and Marvel have created a chop shop factory where they can just spit these things out. And to be completely honest with you, they've all been fun movies. No one cared about Thor or Iron Man 10 years ago, not really. And now they love them. And now I just read that even Chris Hemsworth, the star of Thor, he's one of the 5 highest paid actors in the world. Who was he 6 years ago? No one knew. Now there's
and he's tried some other things. He did that racing car movie, and
yes, he's a good actor.
What? Yeah, but the movie didn't do that well. I mean,
it was a Ron Howard film too.
Yeah, and that was really surprising because Ron Howard has done some amazing movies, but is he slipping? Or I'm not sure.
No, Ron Howard's always done that. He's always done a good mix of really good films and then really bad ones. Yeah. And I'll never forgive him for The Grinch, but but the in truth that going back to the Hollywood and Disney and Marvel, they've got this stuff down to a science. And they can literally rubber stamp these things. And to be completely fair with you, you're right about the Batman film and the Superman film. They may not be the best films in the world, but they're films that can stand on their own. And the Marvel films are just sort of cookie cutter. They're all sort of formulaic. They feature the same type of action, the same type of dialogue. They're really nothing to distinguish one or the other. It's because they don't really exist on their own. They're all designed with a larger puzzle, that they're all going to intersect with each other like a comic book and create a narrative story. And that's good because it's cool. But as a moviegoer, if you like story, it's frustrating because it's like watching a TV show, to be honest with you, Craig. Because nothing's going to happen. They're not going to kill off the character. That this person's not going to bite the dust because they have to return in the Avengers part whatever. And with Batman and Superman, so far they haven't really succumbed to that.
Yeah, and I remember references is back when I saw the Hulk, the movie The Hulk. I mean, where Robert Downey says, at the end, they're building a team, and this is back what '90s. Jeez, and
Yeah, it's
foresight.
a plan. Yeah, it's a plan. It's ambitious, and Disney's great at it. And they're going to try to do that with Star Wars next, and that'll be interesting.
Hey, listen, when we come back, let's talk a little bit about the Popzara website. I know you're very proud of it, and what you had to do to get it up to where it is now. And let's talk a little bit more about computers. Thanks for staying with me. This is the Computer America on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the Boost Radio Network, and the IRN Radio Network. Nathan Evans, managing editor Popzara, continues on with us. Stay with us.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 120,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy and major car companies filing for bankruptcy, Cover America Auto Care has announced revolutionary, inexpensive mechanical breakdown coverage that is now available to the general public to save consumers thousands on auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for drivers to call who own a vehicle that is less than 10 years old for a free 5-minute quote and to see if you qualify. The number is 800-483-2514. Drivers who are covered with this auto protection will not have to pay for a covered repair again. This is the auto coverage now sweeping across America at a fraction of what dealerships charge and is now available to the public by calling today. The number to call is 800-483-2514. 800-483-2514. That's 800-483-2514.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number. 1-866-663-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So, disable the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99 and up to 4 rooms. And there's no equipment to buy. That includes your free HD TV upgrade, your free DVR upgrade, and your free professional installation. And the best part, the pristine digital picture and sound. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. So, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV. Disable the cable, cut costs, and get more. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV.
Hi there, this is Marty Winston for Computer America with a news tips bulletin review of the Hans Swipe Clean. Products that clean touchscreens represent an inherently clever marketing strategy since there's no touchscreen that doesn't need to be touched and touched in a way that dirties it. So no sooner do you clean it than you begin the cycle anew. Hans Swipe Clean is a small plastic applicator that's somewhat reminiscent of a deodorant stick, but with caps at both ends. Open the top cap for an applicator to swipe on its cleaning fluid with a straight line motion recommended. Close the top and open the bottom for a microfiber wipe rolled over a strut. You can take that out and put a clean section there when you need to. Mm-hmm. They recommend wiping with a circular motion to get the microfiber to clean the fluid off the screen. The cleaning job is effective at removing fingerprints and smudges, and the refillable package is rated for 500 uses. Bottom line, Hans Swipe Clean makes. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, the Boost Radio Network, and the IRN Radio Network. Charles Tendell evidently had to leave at the last moment. Hopefully he'll be back with us tomorrow. Evidently his wife was in a car accident, and hopefully we wish her well, and I guess we will find out exactly what happened. I'll hear from him later tonight or tomorrow. In the meantime, just a couple of quick things that before we turn with our guests this hour, and that is at the Computer America website, we have a special going on with ProXPN, and that it's almost over. So I just want you to go check it out because it's a special offer. Here's the thing: when you see the logo, it's right there on the home page. The idea ProXPN basically is an open VPN solution, and if you go online, you run the risk with your privacy being compromised. And you say, oh, well, that happens when you go to an open Wi-Fi connection like at Starbucks or something. But it also can happen at your home. Internet service providers can monitor where you go, what you do, and if you do something that exceeds their guidelines, well, guess what? They can block whatever it is you may be doing. And also, looking for content from other countries is susceptible to being restricted. But with ProXPN, you don't have to worry about any of that. As I said, it's an open VPN solution hosted not only here in the U.S., but globally, like London and Amsterdam and Singapore. So when you're online, you actually appear as though you're located in those cities. ProXPN uses an encryption key that's impressively strong. It's 2,048 bits. Their encryption tunnel is 512 bits. That means ProXPN protects you online and it protects your privacy. This is the way the internet was intended to be. I use it. Charles uses it on his Android phone. That's right. They have a version for their Android phone. And it adds OpenVPN to Android, which it doesn't have, so you don't have to use PPTP. Of course, it will let you use that because it supports it as well. ProXPN supports that. Here's the bottom line: we want you to use it. So here's the deal: you can go and download ProXPN for free and use it. Then that's it forever. But the premium version really is so much faster and better. Normally it's $10 a month or $75 a year, but if you enter in the code COMPAM when you go to that special page at our website, you get an additional 20% off membership. And once you do that, it's good forever, not just that one time. So that's less than $5 a month when you go for the yearly plan. Okay. Here's the thing: they have some great features too. You can select, for example, which programs should be shut down in case your VPN connection goes down and your anonymity has been compromised. So if you're on Firefox, for example, you lose your VPN connection, Firefox closes, so you don't continue using it. It's really a slick system. Again, head over to computeramerica.com, click on the ProXPN special deal. Then anywhere on that page, it'll take you to the special page. CompAm, put that in, you get 20% off a membership for life. Check it out. It's ProXPN.com. ProXPN forever. All right. So again, I'm talking to Nathan Evans, who's agreed to stick around here for the rest of the show since Charles was unexpectedly called away. Your website, whoever has ever visited Popzara.com, and we have a link to it, by the way. If you go to today's show notes, July 24th, you'll see a link to the Popzara website right there. It's there. It's up on our Facebook page, facebook.com/ComputerAmerica. The Popzara link is there as well. And you have games, movies, culture. Obviously, you have all these things. Tell a little about the page. The site now is officially and fully up. And you did it on a shoestring budget too. Why didn't you use like I asked? Why didn't you use like something like Wix or something? Why did you decide to go this route?
Mostly for database management. The original Popzara website went through several iterations through different programmers in different languages, and the world of websites and hosting your own has changed exponentially in the last 7-8 years. We went from a hand tossed. I'm sorry, we're not Pizza Hut. we went from hand created HTML and CSS to something else, and you build a legacy with you. You build content legacy, and you want to make sure that legacy is protected. And from the very beginning, we want to bring it with us. It's baggage. I'm an editorial hoarder. I want everything to stay. And so the big change of going from that to WordPress or an open source website like we have now is, can it be done? And the answer is yes. And so that when we looked around for it, the simple fact is, Craig, is that WordPress is the most popular. And in some cases, going with the most popular at the right time means good things. Imagine, if you will, social networks when MySpace was the most popular, and everyone, I remember they had 200 million users, and everyone was saying how Rupert Murdoch had paid $1 billion for them, and they thought they were going to be the next big thing. But the fundamental structure of MySpace was garbage. It wasn't scalable up to something as ambitious as as Facebook became.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to looking at open source web programming, web platforms, WordPress is the best. It's the best for easily creating your own blog, your own customizable interface. And it's all, and because of that, it's also easy to get help. There's lots of people who can help you with it, and you can do this. And if you're on a shoestring budget, you need to have that capability. You need to be able to cheaply and efficiently hire people that can help you and to take use of those resources. So I would recommend anybody looking to build a website with any type of complexity, look at WordPress. Then again, you probably already have.
Yeah.
Web hosting has come a long way. You can really create something, and if you have talent, which I don't, but other people do, then you can create something even better than that. And I'm really proud of the new website. It functions well. Things work. It looks great. The new artwork is stunning. Thank you, Justin and Herman, if you're listening. And we've got new members of the team that have all contributed, some more than others because of schedules. But it's the mission accomplished, and I'm not talking GW mission accomplished. I mean, this actually works, and it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, we use WordPress. Matter of fact, our show notes and everything is WordPress. So we have that.
And I wanted to mention real quick, Craig, the greatest thing about the WordPress thing, and I know WordPress isn't the only one that does it, but not everybody looks at a website on a PC anymore. They look at it on their phone or their tablet.
Mm-hmm.
And thanks to the nice plugins, you can have dynamic content where you can have the website, intelligently handle that and recast it and remodel it. And again, this stuff it sounds fantastic, but it's standard. This is standard now. This is the new standard. We've raised the bar, and anything less is just unacceptable. If you don't have to not have it, then don't not have it. Do the good stuff. And it doesn't cost a lot. It's very cheap. It's very affordable.
There you go. So, and again, it looks really nice. So, again, congratulations with that. I wanted to now. I noticed that you have, for example, the tech section. Obviously, we're at Computer America, so I always look at the tech. And I noticed that you have different reviews and gadget reviews, and they're done by different people. It looks like the one that seems to be the most popular is Herman Exum.
Herman pulls double duty. Herman is actually, not only is he a tech reviewer, he started off as a games reviewer and realized he likes playing games more than he likes talking about them. Mm-hmm. But he's sort of metamorphized into our tech guy, and he's become really good at it. He's been becoming very proficient. But his other responsibility is he's the one who designs all the characters. He designs the avatars we have, the dinosaur Spiffy, my avatar, his avatar, and I think his artwork is wonderful. And he works in tandem with another someone who's a little bit better than him at using some of the Photoshop tools. But Herman's no slouch, and I'm very proud of the work he's done. And I know that some of the name brand companies, like banana, but I pronounce it Wacom, but other people pronounce it Wacom.
It's Wacom.
Wacom. See, there we go.
Like you walk the dog, and I know it's Wacom per se again because we've had Wacom on the show many times, and I had like the CEO of the company, and I said, and he said, no, it's like when you walk your dog, Wacom. That's so if it's the CEO is saying how you say, I figured that's how it's pronounced, So
I'll say, hey, we have a U.S. president who's commander of the military who can't pronounce corpseman correctly. but Wacom. I'll say Wacom. Doggy coin. But Wacom, they like Herman. They love him. In fact, for some odd reason, it's because of his dual status as graphic designer and tech reviewer. He's very unique. There's not a single tech website that can boast that, and I'm very happy with that. They've put our reviews on their website, and that was a big thrill for him because he's got their latest gizmos and gadgets, and we hand them off to different artists sometimes, and it's fantastic. That's the benefit of having a giant green dinosaur as your mascot. It opens doors. It's our Godzilla effect. I love it.
Now let me ask you. I noticed some latest stories that he has. Does he pick what he's going to write? For example, you have like the verbatim 256 gigabyte store and go external solid state drive. He has a review there. Then he talks about the D-Link. Wi-Fi AC 750 portable router and charger review. I mean, is he picking these, or is, who decides that?
Depends on the company. Sometimes companies have campaigns where they definitely have a list of products they're trying to roll out to the stores, and they're looking to get some publicity. And in that case, we wouldn't say no. No strings attached. If they add strings, then we cut them. And I know that sounded a little arrogant, but companies learn it. Believe it or not, it's sort of status quo for companies to sort of see how far they can dangle that sort of editorial control over a company. And a lot of new websites they're scared to say no, so they'll say anything. And God bless them, but you got to learn to put your foot down. You need to be firm with companies and let them realize is that ultimately you're doing them the favor. Their job is to present product to you. If in most cases they don't really care what you say. If the product's good, the product's good. If the product's not good, it's not good. If you start giving bad products good reviews, then pretty soon your reputation goes out the window. And so you have to be firm. And in the case of Herman, a lot of times he doesn't pick because they'll send him like the 2014 lineup. They'll send him this and that or this and that. And in other cases he can. You see, with movies come out. They're finite. They come out in theaters. They come out in video on demand. They come out in DVD. That's pretty much it. Yeah. Games come out. They come out. They're done. They can be re-released, but for the most part, they're done. Products aren't like that. They can last a while. You can review something from last year; it's still fresh.
And I see, and you do have reviews that go, some of the for this one, but they also you have them from last year, and I obviously now you keep these reviews up even after the product basically is no longer available.
Oh yes, absolutely, because that's actually a good. It's twofold. One, you become a trusted source. You see, somebody might be buying something on eBay, and they want to know how good that product is. And of course, Amazon's a good depository for that. But you want to be that way too. You want to be trusted, and not to besmirch we're not competition, but try going to CNET or one of those blogs and searching their database. It's hell on wheels. You can't get through. Because once something's no longer relevant, it becomes banished, and I don't like that. I like having a catalog of stuff, and that's what I was talking about, bringing all that content with us. About a year ago or so, we all got together and we made a decision on the Popzara website is that we weren't going to produce news anymore. No more news stories. We got rid of our blogs. We got rid of our news stuff. It just the resources weren't they weren't there, and the interest wasn't there. Other people do it better. If I want to bake a cake, I don't want to have to raise the chickens to make the eggs and raise the cows to make the milk. I will go to the store and buy the eggs and the milk. And if I want news, then I'll look somewhere else. There are people that do wonderful news. In the tech world, you have, to varying degrees, you have The Verge, you have Engadget, you have Gizmodo, which unfortunately is part of the Gawker network, Gawker is just Satan, but Gizmodo is not too bad. And you have Lifehacker, you have thousands of really great websites that do a really good job. I do wish they do better sometimes. I do wish because the cycle of news and tech, Craig, you probably know this, is so geared towards product. It's not geared towards analysis, and you so rarely see stories get printed. And you see stories about a new phone coming out, a new color, like when iPhone 5 came out, it was gold. That was the apocalypse for some people. But it's like, it's gold, it's look at that, it's gold. I can't wait to have that fake gold.
Yeah.
And I remember all the Chinese accessory makers were selling gold stickers to turn your old iPhone into a gold one.
I know. Actually, it's champagne. I like.
Yeah, champagne. That's true. But look, Apple likes to call words different colors, but they love talking about the new phone and the new this and that. But I want analysis. I want to see, like, they'll have the little shaming stories, like the big one, the really big one is they know they can. If you're an iOS guy or an Android guy, they know how to push your buttons. They love posting stories about market share with Android this and iOS that. It's all garbage. It's not scientific. It's just web surveys. But they know people are going to go and fight in the comment section. They're going to fight. I don't want to be part of that. That's to me, that's tacky. And speaking of tacky, if I could just make one thing real quick, change the subject. I know we were on last time I was on the show with you and Ben. We talked about Weird Al.
Yeah, big time. I've seen him on CNN. He's surprised about all the attention he's got.
You know, I know you said if I can do a little computer news in Weird Al, I want to say something that shocked the hell out of me, and I hope I said that right, because this made me grin like a little kid. Did you know that Weird Al, as of yesterday, for the first time in his 30-something-year career, for the first time ever, he has a #1 album on the Billboard charts. He's never had one before, never even close.
Is it Tacky?
No, it's his new album called Mandatory Fun.
Oh, and Tacky's part one of the.
Tacky's one of them. And see what Al did, and I got to tell you, whenever I hear a story, people say the music video is dead or music is dead, music doesn't sell. It's because they're lazy. And you have someone like Weird Al, who quite frankly is a genius. And what he did is he did a new marketing campaign. He released a brand new video, and this is interesting. Every video was to a different online vendor. It wasn't just YouTube or that. He split the videos into different companies. He had them pay for and produce them. Mm-hmm. Again, that's interesting. And so he had YouTube produce this, he had Vivo produce that, he had Funny or Die produce this one, he had Yahoo produce another, and each one got the different traffic, millions of hits. And he just gave them all out. He turned it into a celebration. And you know what? For the first time ever, he not only did his album hit #1, anybody can hit #1, it sold better than any other album he ever did. So he outsold everybody. His new album has outsold Mariah Carey, Britney Spears, Jason Mraz, you name it. He's going to have one of the best-selling albums of his career, if not the best. And he's more successful because he used technology in a way that was smart, and it wasn't expected, and it was cool, and it engaged people. And that's how you engage people. First of all, you got to have a good product. Mm-hmm. But with Al, you're just so damn likable, and I think that's what worked. And you know what? There's a lot of people going to be watching what he did, and thinking, you know what? We just got schooled by this 54-year-old clown, and I love it. I think it's fantastic. I think to me, it's one of the big tech news of the year. I really think it is. I think that's news, because that's analysis. That is how you maintain relevance in a time when no one pays attention. You know, I recommend anybody go read interviews that Weird Al has given regarding viral campaigns and social and how things go viral, to understand better how this medium works. Because frankly, you know, when you have Weird Al out doing Lady Gaga, that's amazing.
Yeah, there you go.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is. But he deserves a lot of congratulations, and he's done a terrific job. I've always been a big Weird Al fan for many, many years, and it's sort of tied into radio parodies. I mean, there are these companies that do radio parodies, but even though I had those, I would use a lot of his music because they were so good.
There's a song out. One of his videos is a stop motion animation video that looks like an old Peter Gabriel video. You know, the Sledgehammer video. Mm-hmm. And it's really creative. The song is not my favorite, but in the video he's got a cameo from Dr. Demento.
Yeah.
And I think that was fun seeing that again. You know, I think that's great. You know, what a great time we live in when someone like Weird Al, who, let's be honest, doesn't have anywhere near his budget for all 8 of those videos is probably less than Lady Gaga's like meat dress budget for her dresses. And yet he's been able to create 8 really stunning, really high quality, funny production quality videos online.
And he has named people. I mean, he's got Jack Black. He's got all these different stars that participate with him. Mm-hmm. And you wonder. I wonder if he's paying them, or they're just doing it because they enjoy his work.
Who knows? I know that whatever he's doing is working. He's doing it within a budget, and he's producing something that people seem to genuinely like. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. You know, a lot of times we're presented this stuff and we're said, here, like this. You know, that's kind of the pun on his album title. His album is Mandatory Fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's how it feels a lot. It's just so plastic and garbagey, and it's just not good music. And Weird Al, you know, it's just that's how it's done. You know, that's.
Are you saying you think iTunes hurt the music industry? I mean, what was the last time? When was the last time you walked into a record store?
Oh, I don't think iTunes hurt it at all. In fact, I think iTunes saved it.
Okay.
In fact, quite the opposite. In fact, I was again going back to Weird Al. He made a disclaimer that he's probably not going to release an album anymore. And people said, oh, he's retiring. But no, he's actually said the album's sort of outdated. And that's how iTunes is that people sort of piece together, they take songs apart on iTunes. And to be fair, there's no rule saying that we have to buy albums. I mean, back in the 50s and 60s, people bought they might have bought LPs, but they were very different beasts than they are now. When the technology caught up, then we had maybe 12 songs to an album. We had a nice album cover. That's because they had no choice because that could fit. But we've regressed a little bit. And to be honest with you, would you rather have two or three really good songs on a crappy album, or just two or three really good songs?
Yeah.
And the radio is no help. The radio is so entrenched in the payola scheme of the record companies. You're going to hear Carly Joe Stepson's "Call Me Maybe" 10,000 times before you want to blow your brains out. Or you can go on YouTube or iTunes Radio or Rhapsody or Spotify or all these great streaming services and discover something brand new. If you listen to iTunes Radio or Spotify and you put it on random, you're going to hear things that you would never hear on the radio because they're not commercially viable.
Right, you discover new talent that way. If you watch the TV, The Voice or all these things, then you'll see that these unknown people, now their albums are available on iTunes. You can download. They have what they get, and they make a lot of money. I mean, they're selling quite a lot.
Well, that's the thing. 2 weeks ago, no one really knew there was a Weird Al album. And a week later, he has his best-selling album ever. It's because it's up to the moment. It's now. Instead of a video coming out every 2 weeks and letting it die, he puts a video out every day. The interest level keeps building and building and building and building. And next thing you know, he's selling 100,000 albums. I mean, Weird Al's never sold more than what, 65? Now he's selling 100,000 with no promotion, with no commercials, with no tie-ins, with no burger, with no nothing. And it's fun, Craig, because now that he's popular, this goes to show you just how lame most of the media is, because they don't do any thinking for themselves. They wait till the thing already happens. So now that everybody else has realized that Weird Al's popular, now they're getting it. Isn't that fun? Is that they're following what's already been established, and as opposed to the normal system, which is, the star goes on the show, he promotes the album or she promotes the album, and they do that pillow talk about it, and they have the most uninteresting conversations imaginable. Yeah. And it's just boring. It's daytime television. Like you couldn't, unless you had a lot of duct tape, you couldn't make me watch The View. But that's a lie. My friends know that the only time I ever watch The View is when Ann Coulter appears, because then fireworks fly. But and that's not even political. It's just that's just bees and hornets. But I gotta say, I gotta give credit again. What Weird Al did was he used the technology in a way that and frankly, I'll be honest with you, the only other artist I've ever seen use this technology the way he has been the Korean artist Psy, the rapper, the Gangnam Style.
Yeah.
And here's a guy who doesn't speak English. Well, he does, but his songs don't really have English, and they're all in Korean, and yet he's the most popular person ever on YouTube. It's because he makes great videos. They're fun to watch. The songs are catchy most of the time, and it doesn't cost you anything, and you get to share it with your friends. That's what Weird Al did. In fact, Weird Al did that in the 80s on MTV. MTV is an atrocity. It's a war crimes now. So YouTube is the place to go, and Vivo and all this, and that's to me, that's what technology is. Technology is not flashy, champagne-colored phones. Technology is delivering good stuff to you in a way that's easy and fun. And not to bring it back home, but if Popzara is easy and fun and you enjoy it, then mission accomplished.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't agree with you more. And again, as I said, I've been a huge fan of his for many years, and I'm just glad to see that he's doing so well. He looked so surprised on one of the interviews that I saw him on I think it was CNET. Not CNET, CNN. I saw him on CNN. They were interviewing him. But well, I'll tell you, we're pretty much out of time, Nate. I want you to stay with me till after the show, because we do a little quick behind the scenes we do here on our live video streaming page at Computer America.
90 seconds.
But thanks to all of you, and again, we hope that I'm sure everything will be fine with Charles's wife Dee. Will be
yes,
and we'll hear about that tomorrow. We'll let you know. Tomorrow night we're going to have Michael Miller is going to be joining us. It's the last Friday of the month. Where does the time go? It's the last Friday of the month for July. And Mike Miller, he's an author of well over 150 books, and he's one of our correspondents here in Computer America. He will be joining us talking about
60 seconds.
What he does best. He's got a book on understanding Bitcoin and let's see, and cryptocurrency. We'll be talking about that some, and he's got a couple other publications out. And it's just a fun show, and we certainly invite you to join us tomorrow night. So that about wraps it up. Nate, thanks again for being with us here at the last minute, and we will see you in August.
Thank you.
Same time, same station. We'll see you there too. And again, check out the website, Popzara, Popzara.com. We have the links right to it at ComputerAmerica.com. So until tomorrow night, this is Craig Crossman, hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you tomorrow night.
10 seconds.
Good night.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, so we're up Blog Talk Radio, and thanks to all of you watching us on our live video streaming page, brought to you by Otherworld Computing. Thanks to all of you. I'm going to say goodnight to everybody in the chat room. Night, all. And again, Nathan, thanks so much for being with us here tonight. And I guess we'll see you in August. Okay.
You're welcome. And like I said, if I know Charles was able to get it, but if you happen to get the Yosemite beta and you like it, I'm interested in hearing what you have to say.
Absolutely, I will definitely look that up and probably apply it onto my computer. Absolutely.
Cool.
All right,
thank you very much.
All right, everybody. Good night. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Good night. Bye bye.